Hello, my name is Brady Milan, Butch Queen Face East Coast Mother, Butch Queen Face Icon, and I represent the Black Era.
Hello, I am the iconic Kyan Dumure Versailles by the way of the House of Revlon, Prestige, Ballroom, Prodigy Escada, Chanel, Balenciaga, and I represent the Black Era.
Hi, I am the Bryan Infiniti, and I represent the Black Era.
I discovered Ballroom in 1996 in Atlanta, Georgia by my mother, Tony Milan. She's right here from New York, and she put the first chapter of the House of Milan in Atlanta.
I discovered Ballroom in 1996 in Baltimore, Maryland, by the way of Tony Revlon, Ricky, and Gerard Revlon.
And Ballroom discovered me my first time I walked down Christopher Street. I was 16 years old, and Hector Infiniti and Jamie Infiniti came up to me. They asked me who I was with. I said I was by myself, because I was. It was my first time on Christopher Street. And they said, "You are not by yourself anymore, you're with us." And they walked me over to the rest of the house and introduced me as their new face chop.
The first time I ever walked face, Jesus Christ. It was a liberating experience, but also scary because it's like first time out there, all eyes on me. You really know what to expect, what to do. But when you got out there, it was like, hey, I'm here. I'm doing it. And I won.
The first time I walked space was in 1997 at the Escada Ball in Atlanta, the Fire and Ice Ball at the Roxy. I didn't know anything about balls. When Tony Milan approached me, when he said the word balls, I thought I had to go get a tuxedo. And he said, no, you gotta walk balls. So I'm from the era of the pageants. I ran with Naisha Dupree, Michon Black, and those children. I didn't know anything about balls. So when Tony introduced the balls, and I first went to my first ball, I walked New Face in 1997 at the Escada Fire and Ice Ball thrown by Sebastian and Tony. And I never would forget, Octavia was St. Laurent was on there on the panel, Selvin was on the mic, and you have to be New Face, a white shirt and blue jeans. And I came through. That's the very first ball I walked and won in 1997, New Face.
My first ball I ever walked was in 1996, and I wore a really ugly shirt because I didn't know what I was doing, and I lost, and that was my first taste of walking. I think it was New Face, and I remember losing and saying, I'm not going to let that happen again, and that was the last time I lost.
You would work.
So on the time frame when I hit the Philadelphia Baltimore area, the most hottest people that I battled and that I faced was Joey Caron, Kareem Cartier, Chicken, Lawn Glass, I remember. I've had, those are the main people from Philadelphia, actually. The more so people that were definitely heavy hitters in the area at the time frame. So, then, actually, I would say after that, Brady DiMarte.
That's funny that you say that because I've never won in Philly, ever. I used to battle Brandon Allure. That was my rival from Philadelphia. I never won over him. I came to Philly. It's hard to win in Philly. It's hard to win in Philly, and people that's in this room cannot testify to that. But I can say Brandon Allure was you paid $30 to come and see me and him lay out in face deals. He came to Atlanta at the awards ball, at the MLK ball, at tracks. And I said, you're not winning over me in my city. You're not doing that. And he didn't walk. I couldn't get through. And me and him never crossed paths again. But the definition of a diva ball, thrown by Jay Blonick, I never will forget it. I've never walked in Philly. Stuart Ebony brought me to Philly. He said, why did you walk first? I was like, I don't know. I mean, I just knew to walk. When I came out, they was on me like flies on, can I cuss? No. They was on me. So I was like, here come Brandon Allure, here come Chicken, here come Kareem, here come all these. And I'm like, girl, give me 50 feet. But that was a learning experience for me because these were the names in Philadelphia. Martinet from Baltimore. So these were the heavy hitters. And then, like I said, I came in from Atlanta. So that's the first state down south that was birthed in Ballroom. And outside of Jersey, D.C., New York, Philly, Atlanta was the first city. After we came up here and won the state versus state ball in 1997, that's when the children start flocking to Atlanta. You came to Atlanta to the ball, Martin Luther King weekend, and you stayed for the Monday night show to see Jacen Barnett. It stops you.
It was magical. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about ballroom. I was thrown into it. I had no idea about any of it, and I picked up quick. I think people gravitated towards me because of how fast it all happened. It was almost instant, and it was, a lot. And I remember having to walk against some real titans, base titans, and being like 17, 18, just walking out there like it was nothing and winning it, and not to this day knowing how big that was, and how crazy it still is. But I loved it. I had a beautiful time. I met amazing people. Yeah. I feel like my rival at that time, well, what everyone wanted to be my rival was Whitney McGlair. Pretty much all the players. I remember having to walk against all of them almost every time. They were all gorgeous. It was definitely intimidating. I looked up to Whitney. He was killing it right when I entered. And he was stunning, sweet, kind. And it was scary at first. But, once he reached out to me to walk together instead of walk against each other, I thought that was cool. And I jumped on the opportunity. We did it. We won. And we were kind of like brothers after that. So it kind of splashed all that for me. Maybe not for y'all.
Can I just jump in here and say something real quick? You're not giving yourself enough credit. You're being very, very humble, Bryan.
Right.
You are the first Butch Queen to ever win open to all fans for $1,000.
Yeah.
Let me give you your, come on now, for the give you that K, son. You are the first Butch Queen to win open to all fans for $1,000. They wasn't even giving out coins like that in 1997. Let's be clear.
I remember.
Then when Miss Ajane came from the back, she has not been out in 5 years. Like I was there. You saw the uproar when she came out. I'm elated that you're just humble, but I just have to give you the ball so you can slam dunk.
He's talking about the Millennium Ball.
No, that's the awards ball.
Awards?
Yes, that was at the Brooklyn last year.
Yeah, sorry. I said, okay.
It all black.
Come again. You're right. You're right.
Funny, you talked it. You got stacked.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I'm truly honored. It's I didn't know that was gonna happen. I could never had seen that. I was in for such a short amount of time, and I know that some people thought maybe too short a time for the amount of attention I've received from the ballroom and the amount of love. But I did what I wanted to do in that short amount of time, and just the idea of people still talking about me or asking me to come to do something like this 23 years later, it's crazy. I would have never imagined. So, thank you. I couldn't believe that I was going to win $1,000 because that 18, that's a lot of money. And I'm from the Bronx, so I had no money. But no, in all seriousness, it was scary. I didn't know because I didn't know these people. But my house mother and father, they were, very clear on telling me how big a deal this was, and to prepare for it and to, go out there and give your best. And I remember just going blank when I hit the runway, and blank, like in my mind, like I can't hear anything, I can't see anything. And I just, I knew what the job was to sell my face to the judges. And I did it the best I could. And, I could have walked away losing that night, but I didn't, in my mind, because, like he said, Ajane and all these others were just iconic.
Easy. Who else walked that night? Alpha
Everyone walked that night.
Like everybody walked that night. It was a bloodbath. So the batch in Atlanta for Butch Queen Face, if you came to the South, because at one time the lights were out in Ballroom in New York. They only had like 2 balls. They had New York Awards Ball. Up in the East Coast, you had the Dorian Corey. You may have had 1 or 2 Jordan balls. You had the Latex, and then you had the Bazaar ball. In Atlanta, what separated us from up in the East Coast was we were more of, we learned when we saw Ballroom when the East Coast came to Atlanta at the Winter Solstice Ball in 1994, they introduced us to Whitney and Stewart and all of those kids. Miss Tony was already living down there. She was going to Morehouse. She didn't even want anybody to know she was walking face. The difference was between us, we were more pageant kids, and we had a look, but we had to be groomed into Ballroom. The Witch Queens in Atlanta were me, Lisa Viaki Blair Escada, Romeo Ebony, James Ebony, Orlando Blair, Kid Escada, Joe Milan, Julia Milan, Marcus Milan, Christian Milan, and that's, for me, the Butch Queen faces were small. So Butch Queen face, the line was long like Butch Queen Vogue film. Like the girls that walk Butch Queen Vogue film and performance, the line is wrapped around the building twice. That's how Butch Queen face was. When Vogue film was coming on, you went to go use the bathroom or you get something cigarette. But Butch Queen face, the line was just as long as Vogue film. If you battled back then in the black era, you had to knock some girls out. If you won a trophy at the IM ball, the latex ball, the Bazaar ball, the La Beja ball, Miss Cover had her last ball at the Brooklyn YMCA. If you won a ball, if Miss Paris had her last ball in 2010, you earned that trophy. You could put that trophy on your mouth and pay it, because that was our earned trophy. You knocked some girls out. No social media, no clicks, views, and likes, no Bigo, no apps. There was a scandal sheet. Can I see Brayden Milan versus Bryan Infiniti versus Leonard Blair? You waited for the scandal sheet to come out. When the scandal sheet came out, if you were on that scandal sheet, that means you were the girl to be called after LSS.
I would say I arrived in the category 98 once I beat Dwayne Revlon. I was already there before, but I wouldn't say I arrived until I beat Dwayne Revlon. It was Tiffany Miss Roddy Ball in Baltimore. Yeah. That night it was Dwayne Revlon, Ron Aphrodite, Man Aphrodite, Martin came out but didn't battle him. And I believe it was Keith Aphrodite at the time. And I believe that was it at the time. Oh, and no, he didn't come back out. Michael Kyan, he did not come back out.
I remember with that bummer. I remember with that all. Because you know what? That ushered in Butch Queen face with performance. When I saw Dwayne Revlon that night, that ushered in not just walking Butch Queen face, but can you box that face? Can you perform? Can you keep your hands above your head and represent power? That's what Butch Queen face is. It's good to walk face. I loved it. But if you can't perform, that's null and void to me. When I saw Dwayne Revlon act like Miss Ira on that floor, that was up. Whatever. If Harris's brother where Ira came down the stairs backwards with those glasses on, that is the epitome of Facebook performing. Jamal Milan, Jerry Princess, Michael Princess, Erskine Christian, Floyd Milan, Donald Revlon from Jersey. Don't forget about the Jersey kids. Facebook performance ushered in it, and I'm so glad you spoke that name.
I feel like I arrived in the category when I started seeing my name in the flyers. And when they would call you out, I thought that was crazy because I had only read flyers and read the names of the people that they wanted to see, and now I was one of them. And I was like, wow, I just ruined that being like a mole. Angels 1 was crazy. I remember having to walk against a lot of people. I never would have expected to have the opportunity to walk against Octavia Saint Laurent. I mean, it was a new thing for Butch Queens to walk against femmes, which I always thought was kind of odd. I like, how would you measure that? Like, it's so different. But they were doing that a lot back then, and that night I had to walk against her, and it was crazy to win. Yeah, I remember it to this day. The reason why I stopped walking balls was not, well, there was two reasons. One is not as exciting as everyone would have hoped, but I moved out of New York and I moved to Miami. I needed to start my adult life. I was 20, and that was my first time moving on my own. So I left New York and didn't look back. But with that said, it was easy for me to walk away from it because I had felt that I definitely, at that point, there was such a frenzy that would happen when I walked. It would be a little bit overwhelming, the amount of people that were invested in who won and having that target on my back. I just remember, like, I wouldn't even be able to, like, go to the ball anymore. Like, I would kind of have to wait in the car. I'd wait for my category to be called and wait till they, like, counted down to storm it and to enter in this way. So, like, I wasn't even seeing the ball anymore. So, I don't know. It kind of took a little bit of the fun out. So, it just happened. I just walked away. Looking back, I do have some regret about leaving so soon. I would have liked to participate in more.
Would you come out of retirement?
No.
The things that I don't like about the era today is that the whole ballroom scene is wrapped up in status. I feel like, why are you in a rush? Like, battle the girls. Like, you have to win up the girls that are substantial in your category in order to gain the status. Today, what I don't like, put you in the microwave, press 5 years, ding, you're an icon. I don't see that because it wasn't like that, and you know that when we came out. In order to be a legend, you have to win over a legend. The first night I won over Fred Garçon, Mugler Garçon, that solidified me. Today, what I don't like, I feel like it's rushed. What I do like is the talent. The talent is over and beyond your wildest dreams for Butch Queen Face. It kind of reminds me when Erskine came out. They were doing productions. Erskine did all this. Came out with fire, beans, and back pieces, tail pieces. He's the first Butch Queen ever. He did this. What I like about the new generation is they're coming with props. They're coming with music. They're coming with background dancers. That makes me know they won it. And that means when you want it, when you know who you are, you just know who you are. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. The production value has gone up tremendous. And I enjoy seeing it. I think it's makes it exciting. I like that the Butch Queens walking face now, they're not afraid to kind of embrace their feminine side. Like, I've seen them walking dresses and all that. That's different. That's cool. So yeah, I like that. I like that part.
I would also say I agree with Brandon. I also agree with Brandon with the whole the status thing. It's really getting out of hand. It's killing a lot of vibes with the category. It's killing a lot of things with the ballroom scene, period. Other things I do like with the face kids is that they're coming harder. But the one thing I don't like is that they only come harder when it's a cash prize. I mean, we used to work for free. Get our name out there and show our talent, anything, and still make our names. Nowadays, it's a cash prize. That's why I'm not coming out of this cash prize. You're not that girl yet.
Right.
I say,
Who won't touch that?
I say, do you? I've always said I'm not doctor and lawyer. I'm mother and father. But I say, do you? Do what works for you.
Right.
To be associated with Butch Queen Face, if you dig into the undergird of the category, if you don't have self-esteem, then it will not translate on the ballroom floors. You have to know who you are. If with that being said, if you feel like you need to go get snatched, cool, club, whatever, that's on you. As long as you got the money to pay for it, do you. As long as you don't look like the plastics when you come out, because that's where we're at now. But I'm not opposed to it. I'm just from that era. See, I came in on another ball time, so it's very mother and father, doctor, not doctor anymore. You like.
It's kind of one of the biggest things I took away from my time in ballroom, in terms of tips for grooming. It's kind of funny. I did it this morning. It's the ice bath for your face. I remember Bryan Infiniti, my house father, would make me, before I walk balls, he'd fill the sink up with ice and say, go stick your face in it. And I used to hate it. And then I started winning, and then I'd be like, where's my ice bath? Because it works. So yeah, I would say that.
I tip my hat off to Exotic Williams as far as walking face. I tip my hat off to Zurich. Wolver. Let's talk about this.
Who I think that are making their mark today out of the new kids, this is a tricky question because it depends on which way the wind is blowing. But I tip my hat off to Exotic Mugler. I tip my hat off to Embry. I tip my hat off to Anthony. And the reason why I say these three names, and also Haven, because it's one thing to have face. Everybody, okay, you have face, cool. But if you can battle, if you can get on the floor and take it from the back and battle and become a battle cat and make me know it, that's what I take my hat off to. A lot of people are called, but they're not chosen. So with that being said, you can have mud to the ends of the world. But if you can't sell it to me, I'm going to pick up over you. That's the way I feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
You have to sell it to me. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you look like. I don't care how many thousands you spend on your mug. If you're not bringing it to me and making me know it on the panel, I'm going to pick hard over you.
Same that these two just said. I think there's one from your house that walked recently. That one in the red. Christian, believe so. Christian. Yeah, beautiful. But yeah, the same people that this does.
In my legacy, I walk people that walk, or butch queens that walk facing behind me, to know that I aged gracefully. I want them to know I have won state to state. Mm-hmm. And I want them to know that you can sell that bug. You have to sell that bug. It's about sellers to me. My legacy is about selling that fakes. I come from a long line of butch queens that know how to sell that mug. And we talk about this all the time, about boxing that fakes. The legacy that I want to leave is that Brandon Milan can sell you that mug at a ShopRite bag, honey.
I would like to leave behind the fact that I also won state to state, coast to coast. Also, the same fact of the matter is, listen to your leaders. Take constructive criticism well. Don't take it to offense, because we're here for the betterment up.
What I'd like to leave behind is to remind everyone that what Ballroom is really about. It's not just about the game, not about the competition. It's about the acceptance of a group of people that are your chosen family, and to respect that and to love your style.